So with the current state of the whole world, a lot of people are looking towards 2021 and the better things that it might bring. So I thought we would specifically take a look at 2021 in terms of Pokemon. That being, what are the possible new Pokemon games and, well, things we could really expect to see in the year of 2021. So that's what we're doing today, the top 5 possible new Pokemon games in 2021. Keep in mind, this is all just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. I just want to share what I think might be coming our way in 2021. Either way, let's get started. So we're kind of doing this from like the least likely to most likely, and one of the things that I think is least likely to happen but still could be a possibility because you never really know with Game Freak is maybe Generation 9. So this one's at the bottom of the list specifically because it's the least likely one to happen. Again, you never know because again, Game Freak can really do whatever they feel like, but honestly, we just had the games last year of Sword and Shield, so the likeliness of these things popping up is unlikely, which is why it's so low on the list, and I'm not really gonna go further into it, but like I'm just saying, it's the least likely one, which is why it's at the bottom, because you never really know with Game Freak. They can change their minds and just put things out whenever they feel like it, so just keep that in mind. But it's at the bottom, so let's go to the more likely one, which is number 4, which is a new mobile game. So yeah, the likeliness of a new Pokemon mobile game is highly possible. Now, we got to keep in mind something though, which is that we're probably going to see a decline in mobile games going forward, as I think Nintendo as well as Game Freak and most of the people over there have kind of realized that with mobile games, you can't always strike gold, and you know, it's a thing where it's like, you got to be really lucky with it. And the only lucky product from Pokemon within mobile gaming has really been Pokemon Go, whereas their other endeavors like Pokemon, for example, Duel, totally failed and didn't make enough money, and even Pokemon Masters, which is a pretty big endeavor of theirs, is seemingly also failing and not doing too well. A lot of people aren't playing it, the game doesn't seem to be making enough money, and the time investment from the developers doesn't seem to be paying off for, you know, DNA, or I'm not really sure if that's their exact name, but this doesn't seem to be paying off for them, as they're putting a lot of effort and time into it, but it doesn't seem that many people are picking the game up and actually playing it, which may be a good indication for the Pokemon Company as well as Nintendo and even, I guess, Game Freak, that hey, maybe we shouldn't go all the way towards mobile gaming because it doesn't seem like it's going to be that profitable in the long run. Whereas if they keep making the mainline games and maybe even like spin-off games like, you know, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and that sort of stuff, not really spin-off, it's still a mainline game, but you know, kind of spin-off-ish type of games, it's more likely they're going to succeed. However, there were projects, there were mobile games in the works from last year by DNA. There was supposed to be another Pokemon game seemingly in the works. So the possibility of another mobile game showing up for Pokemon is highly likely. We could see something like a Mystery Dungeon mobile game still popping up. Yes, we had Mystery Dungeon Remake this year, so maybe if that was successful enough, they might even shove out another, you know, mobile game, and that being a Mystery Dungeon one. You never know. My point is, this is also like slightly less likely, but also possible because mobile games can easily be produced. They require way smaller teams, way less time, and they can even be at the current time made from the homes of the developers if they just have a okay PC. So yeah, that's just that one. Let's go to the top 3 now. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Let's Go Johto. So yes, first things first, I'm going to answer the thing that most of you will type in the comments. Hey, Ruffle Rowlet, well, Game Freak said they wouldn't do more Let's Go games, or at least they implied that they don't feel like making any more. Well, here's a thing that you have to keep in mind. Game Freak say things and take them back all the time. They told us they would never do DLC, they ended up doing DLC. Masuda said they would never do a thing where they remove Pokemon from a game. Well, they did that with the whole National Dex thing. So you can never really take what they say 100% because they change their minds all the time. So keep that in mind. So just because they said they don't maybe feel like making another Let's Go game, well, guess what? The possibility of it still happening is there. And I think the possibility is easily doable because here's the thing, right? To make Let's Go Johto, they already have half the work done. What do I mean? Well, they've got Kanto. They already have Let's Go Johto, you know, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee with the Kanto region, loads of characters, loads of models, loads of like assets and stuff that are already finished, which they can literally just port over and then just recreate. Like, it's just already there. So much of the work is already done. They can easily make a Let's Go Johto. They just got to make the new characters as well as some buildings and a few new Pokemon, which for the most part can just be imported from previous games with just a few adjustments. My point being simply this. There are a lot of people out there who want to see a remake of Johto in 3D. There's loads of people who want to see that because they love Johto. I mean, I love Johto, and my favorite games of all time are Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So I wouldn't mind seeing a Johto in 3D, so to say, but at the end of the day, they can easily put it together with the amount of resources they already have, the amount of assets and stuff, allowing them to definitely have time to make this. And the possibility could be that next year we maybe see, you know, hey, let's go Johto game. It could still be possible, but that's number 3. Let's go to the next one. And so we are at number 2, and here we're going to talk about more DLC for Sword and Shield. Now you might be saying, wait a minute, that's not really a game. Well, it technically is, because in the past, and what they've kind of done with the DLC now is that the DLC is replacing the third versions. And as we would count the third versions as games in the past, and not like the definitive or deluxe editions, we would just, well, call them the games they are, like Platinum, Emerald, etc. I thought in this case, we would essentially, you know, consider the DLC the same way. And here's the case what I'm looking at, right? I think there's a high possibility we may actually end up seeing, again, more DLC next year. And why am I saying this? Well, it all depends on the success of the current DLC, which is the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. If there is enough people who actually buy those DLC, if there is enough interest, enough sales to justify them making more DLC, I am pretty certain they're gonna do it, because it's, at the end of the day, honestly, far less work, and you get paid a pretty hefty amount. Because at the end of the day, you make less stuff, you charge $30, and you can put it out there easily, and you don't have to go through the process of making a whole new, like, you know, making the cases, all the production stuff. Like, that stuff is negated. You don't even need to do that. So my point is, they can easily skip a lot of steps here and make loads of money. So why wouldn't they do more DLC next year when it doesn't require as much time, but can still make really good profits? But again, that's the thing. That's if it makes enough profits, because the amount of people who need to buy the DLC for it to be as profitable as the third version games is actually a pretty hefty amount. They would need to have to sell like a lot. And I mean, we know that Sword and Shield did really good, sold loads of copies, actually were outpaced by Animal Crossing though, but they were really selling well. So there's a load of people that own the games, and this is actually the prime time to be releasing DLC, because people are at home, people can't go outside. So if you release a DLC, people who have the games already will simply go on the eShop and buy them, you know, the DLC for the games, and there you go. Like, it's the perfect circle to be releasing a DLC. But that's the thing, it's the perfect timing, which means that it may not work again next year when things are more stable and all that, you know, like it may not work that same way. So will they want to invest into it in the future, or will they just do it as a thing where, hey, we have this extra content that we're working on, we're not going to put it into the main game, let's just sell it separate, let's just do that? And, you know, is that the way they're going to do it, or are they actually going to incentivize themselves to make more content just so they can make these extra DLCs? That's the question I'm asking, right? And I think the possibility is actually highly likely. It's highly possible they could do a DLC again, but there is one more option, and that is the last one on this list, which is number 1. And so here we are at number 1, and that is, of course, the Diamond and Pearl remix. So here is a thing we have to keep in mind. Next year, I am pretty sure, is the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl's release, which means that it's been the perfect amount of time for them to actually remake the games. And it also makes sense, because the last remakes we had were on the 3DS. And of course, we can't really count Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, because they're a different kind of sort of game. They're not the traditional remakes, they're kind of a sideline thing, so we can't really include them here, you know, when we count when the last remake was made. But if we actually look at when the last proper remake was, that was ORAS, and that was back in like, what, 2014 basically. That was a long time ago, okay? A lot of time has passed since then. It's been, what, 6 years? And I think it's about time for us to actually see another remake. And if they followed the quote-unquote pattern that they've been doing since Fire Red Leaf Green, which is to release them every other generation, so, you know, basically Generation 3 had Fire Red Leaf Green, Generation 4 had, like, you know, Heart Gold Soul Silver, but ever since then, they basically follow this pattern where they skip a year or something like that, which is at least what we're assuming is a pattern. Then we can assume that it's about time for a Diamond and Pearl remake. Also, the amount of people who wanted Diamond and Pearl remakes, not just from the, like, around the world, but specifically from like Japan, is massive. There's loads of people who want to see these games remade. Game Freak are giving some weird like hints and stuff. It's highly possible we will see that next year, and I think majority of people want to see that next year as they're excited for it. So I think the most likely thing we can expect is to see Diamond and Pearl remade in 2021 and released. Again, you never know. We could see more DLC, we could see Let's Go Johto, but the most likely one, which is the one I put at the top of this list, is Diamond and Pearl Remix. And that's just what I think. Now, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts and opinions? Let me know in the comment section down below about this one. So that is the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, then of course, drop a like down below. Feel free to subscribe and comment down below. Which one of these things do you want the most? Do you want Diamond and Pearl remakes? Do you want Let's Go Johto? Do you want more DLC? New mobile game? Generation 9? Like, what is the most want? Like, what is the one thing you want the most? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.